I spoke earlier with former ISRO scientist Nambi Narayanan, a very famous name, of course, in the country, on this landmark moment for India and global space collaboration. Here's that conversation. Mr. Nambi Narayanan, all of our hearts are filled, sir, today with pride. We've reached here because of the work of you and so many other ISRO scientists. How do you feel, Mr. Nambi Narayanan, seeing an Indian in space after 41 years?
There's confirmation of the Shannon abort.
Yeah, I'm equally excited. And this is a mission, we consider this as a prelude to the Gaganyaan, which is, we are working very hard, and then I think we are going to launch in the year 2027. So this experience is something, I'm not able to understand the, it's difficult to tell the experience, the value of the experience. It is fantastic. Yeah. But for the vehicle, everything else you are learning from here. So this will help us a lot in carrying out Gaganyaan. Mm-hmm. And it is not just the one Indian in this space, but it is the entire overall exposure. Getting
Very
into
true.
How the whole thing is organized and planned and executed. Yeah.
Very true, Mr. Nambi Narayanan. You know that this is infinite knowledge really for ISRO to also help with Gaganyaan. Do you see, sir, this also being the beginning of a space movement of sorts where we'll see so many more now shattering this record? This is the second Indian ever in space. Do you see that changing in the next few years, that we'll have a whole lot more of Indians to boast of going into space?
Yeah, I recall... I think this is the time to recall when we had the first SLV launch was a failure. They named SLV as Sea Loving Vehicle. And when we went on ASLV, they named Always Sea Loving Vehicle. So that is a kind of response we had from the common public. And but the whole thing got changed over a period of time. SLV 3, ASLV. Then we got the PSLV, 93, successful 94. And then not even a single failure kind of a thing. And in the meanwhile, we had the GSLV and PSLV, and then Chandrayaan and Mangalyaan. Actually, what really turned into our favor was the Chandrayaan. And when we landed on the moon, it was a fantastic exposure, and then I am able to see the common man's reaction to this. Wherever I go, I am able to see. And the most interesting part I want to share with you is the people who are very much anxious about the space is not a 20-year or 50 years fellow. It's a 10 to 12 years old boys. And they are the people who are really excited about the whole thing, which is good.
Yeah.
Awareness and then familiarity and then understanding the whole thing, very interesting. So afterwards, this has come as a game changer after Chandrayaan. And certainly Gaganyaan will really, it will be really something which every one of us will be very happy. And then of course we have to wait for Man on the Moon, which will be 2040. Yeah.
Onwards and upwards from there,
very
Mr.
interesting.
Nambi Narayanan.
Space is always an interesting, exciting.
Very true. Sir, do you remember 1984 when Rakesh Sharma had gone to space? I wonder if you could recall for us what were the emotions then?
Yeah. Well, honestly, we were having an emotion in the sense that there is an Indian who is going to space. Honestly speaking, I'm not undermining the Rakesh Sharma, but where were we when we say we are having an Indian in space? We had only one vehicle, namely the SLV 3, which we launched in the year 79. But then, 84, 5 years from there, afterwards, so many things took place. You had the SLV 3, and then ASLV, and then GSLV, and then PSLV, and then GSLV, and then you had Chandrayaan, and then you had Mangalyaan, and finally Chandrayaan, where we landed our object, this one in the moon. So step by step we have gone. It is not an ordinary affair. If I recall, In the beginning, when I joined ISRO, we were only 23 people totally, including the driver. Now today in ISRO, I'm sure that it will be in the order of about 20,000 people are there.
Yeah.
Many of them are engineers. So that is a kind of difference. And the public response is really very happy, very exciting. People who were telling that this is a white elephant, no need to spend money on that, etc. In fact, that is what was holding the liquid system itself to come into the play. Because they were talking, oh, why the hell we should spend so much of money on this. But today, it's all changed.
100%.
I'm very
I think
happy
it's a good thing
that,
that's changed. But can I also ask, sir, to you, in the next few years now, Group Captain Shukla is now in space. The Gaganyaan mission is coming up very soon, as you highlighted, Indian on the moon perhaps in a few years after that. Things are moving very fast now. But I tend to ask why in the last 4 decades, Mr. Nambi Narayanan, we never saw a movement where in 41 years ever an Indian made it to space. I tend to ask, why did it take so long? Would you have a response to that, sir? About why for 41 years we didn't see any Indian go to space right up until now?
Well, I really don't know how to react to this, but let me try to react to this. You see, it is not true when you say that there was no movement for 41 years. Yeah, there were movements, but the only thing is it was slow. Now the reason for the slowness is, of course, as you know very well, it is funding. Shall I tell you one thing, as the project director of the Vikas engine, or even the liquid systems itself, we never had any funding. This was not, I directly got the experience of it. See, what we could have done in 3 years, we took 19 years. Not because of any technological problem, but because funding was not there. So, see, for any project, supposing you say that tomorrow that unlimited fundings are going to be available, Gaganyaan or anything, you can go, multiple routes you can go. See, you remember, I don't know whether you remember, but when we wanted to do the first liquid engine, Professor Dhawan, who was a chairman, as an excellent architect of today's space program, he was mentioning that you try to do something without spending money, without asking for too much of money. What we needed, 200 crores, he wants us to do it in 20 lakhs. That is the kind of experience we had. That is the only reason for the delay. It is not because we were not having the intelligence to do the job. But the problem is that the money is very important.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason I can think of and cite.
Yeah. I'm glad that's changed today. I'm glad that there's will to ensure that we provide all necessary resources, infrastructure, and we're putting the focus, much needed focus, on growing in this particular sector. As you said, Mr. Narayanan, you're seeing a lot of passion in this today, with youngsters particularly. You're seeing a lot of interest. And hopefully in the next few years, we'll see many more Group Captain Shubhanshu Shuklas. We'll see many more Rakesh Sharmas. Thank you very much, Mr. Nambi Narayanan, for your time. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations to you, sir, for this milestone.